All right, so all you, and I'm going to scroll down here to see comments.
All right. So, welcome to the Paint Nerds. Uh, Today we're going to be going over comic style painting, also known as sometimes called cell shading. Um, what do you think of when you think of comic style cell shading?
There's actually three actually styles of comic book shading, and I'm kind of glad you touched on one of them. Cell shading is where you would take any object and it would be cut in a certain way with a lighter paint color that kind of blocks it off. That's basically making it a cell.
You can kind of see it here on Soundwave.
That's more indicative of blur shading.
Oh. Lied.
Blur shading is where you take like traditional comic artists when they're drawing in pencil, they would create the shape and then they would scribble in the shadow.
Okay.
It's called blur shading. You're just
Okay.
basically you're scribbling in the shadow, then you blur it to kind of define the blur.
Right.
So like you would take this part of the leg and it's all one color, then you add the streaks to show the metallic feature.
Okay.
Okay, that runs along the same line as blur shading or gradient shading.
Okay.
Where cell shading is like you would block off this and this would be lighter. This whole section would be lighter
Got it.
in accordance to, sun hitting it in a certain area. It's
Okay.
all like, how I do object source lighting,
Yeah.
right? Cell shading is a lot like that, where I only block off where light is actually hitting, and that is a wholly separate color than everything else.
Okay.
So blur shading is where you would literally, put your streaks in right here, and you would really fine point thin and broad streaks to show different glare areas where
Okay.
sun hits.
Gotcha.
Blur shading would be like, I'm going to take a little piece of paper right here, and almost everybody learned this in basic art class.
Oh, talking about like cross hatching?
That is one way to do it, but you would take, this. I have to go to the live feed real quick. So I would sit here and I would take, this oval shape and say that's supposed to be a bicep, and the sun is hitting in this general area. So you would have shading that would kind of come in here around here. You would have shading that comes in here up to the top, and then you just kind of rub it to smear it, and then you erase the parts that don't make sense, that are introduced too much into the light area.
Okay.
That's blur shading, where you just basically blur out your little lines and voila.
Alrighty.
Another thing artists do in comic books is you'll see like this type thing where it's just a bunch of lines that just get smaller and smaller. That's your crosshatch
Okay.
shading. You can learn a lot from a bunch of nerds. So today we have a Starscream, Soundwave, a primed Optimus Prime. He's already primed. And he's a prime. Ba-dum-ts. And my favorite of all of the Autobots, Bumblebee. Yes, he is actually my favorite.
I've never gotten the allure of Bumblebee.
Dude, think about it. Of all the Autobots, Bumblebee may act like he's constantly getting hurt, but he's always saving the day somehow.
Well, that's called plot armor.
No, actually, he is a spy.
Yeah.
His whole thing is designed to
he was
get
a
in,
small one, get in,
be
get out.
innocuous, do some damage, and get the hell out.
Yeah, who would suspect the VW bug?
Right. Well, even when he was on Cybertron, he was smaller and he was
He
just
would
this
fit
innocuous
into
vehicle.
like the other ones. Yeah.
Exactly. So, like, when you see a Decepticon building blowing up, it wasn't because all these really big Autobots were coming in and pew, pew, pew. No, it was because Bumblebee and his little buddies were sitting there going, okay, we planted the bombs. Watch this. Wait for it. Wait for it. Look, okay, wait. Prime's about to shoot the building. Watch. We're going to make him look like a badass. And go! Oh, the whole building went up. And it looks like Prime did it with one shot. He's going to
Basically,
be crowned
Prime's
God.
special effects guy.
Yeah, all the spies were.
Yeah.
And even on the Decepticon side, they had spies. And that's why I loved Bumblebee, is everyone treated Bumblebee like he was this useless thing. He wasn't designed for direct combat. He was designed for, oh yeah, you can kick my ass all you want, but I already planted all these really cool bombs all over your building, and I just leveled it.
I do like him in the newer Netflix series where he's just like third party, doesn't give a shit, and he's like, I'm just here to be paid. I don't want to be in your war.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do dig him in that.
But one of the things about Bumblebee, and I know Justin from Troll Tooth Productions would probably set this straight, but from what I remember about Bumblebee, and mind you, what I know versus what he knows is Thimble versus Ocean, okay, is Bumblebee was the most trusted of Prime's Autobots.
I think my history started truly with Beast Wars, but
Hey, I don't knock Beast Wars.
no, Beast Wars was the shit.
I love, when it came to Beast Wars, as much as I loved Bumblebee's character on that, I was still a fan of the spider chick.
Black Arachnia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something about her just kind of made me go, huh, I can get down with Decepticons.
All right, so gonna get started on Optimus Prime.
Red and blue.
Red and blue. Gonna thin it out a little bit. This is just Mephiston red
Mephiston red.
with a little bit of Lamian gloss.
Lamian gloss medium. Hey, if you ever want to just use straight up gloss medium, I got that. I can literally put a drop down for you. It makes things like really super shiny. It makes it even shinier than that.
I have some.
It's weird how that stuff just. I love the fact that it makes the paints like super duper shiny. Mm-hmm. But like the one thing that always struck me as odd with it is the fact that when you look at the consistency of the gloss medium versus the matte medium kind of comes out in clumps like sour milk. Where the gloss medium is kind of like, oh, I'm going to come out slow and you're going to use too much. And it's like it's giving you a dead stare in the eye as it's coming out of the bottle. And you're like, oh, God, no. Damn it. You know?
So for Autobots and most good guys in most franchises, you're going to see a lot of warm colors. Mm-hmm. Typical of hero civilian type roles.
Red, white, and blues. Mm-hmm. Here's a little thing I learned from a Marvel artist, is the best bad guys are usually dressed in Christmas colors.
I'm going to need an example.
Riddler.
A, not the best bad guy.
Oh, well, I'm saying, okay,
B,
look at...
green and purple.
Green and purple, yes. But purple is also in the color of Christmas. It's usually in the lights and the echoing of the Aurora Borealis. But no, it's not, because Aurora Borealis isn't purple. I thought there was purple in there, but I think I was wrong. But also Apocalypse, the darker, like, blues.
Yeah.
Blues, greens, purples tend to make better villains. It's more of that, it's that weird contrast that starks to the eye that kind of repulses you for a second. And the fact that they're a bad guy just kind of aids in the whole repulsion factor.
It's colors less frequently found in nature.
Yep. Where good guys are all in the warmer, like reds, blues, yellows, the more vibrant standout colors that, like when you see a hero in vibrant purple, like electric colors are also good for good guys. And I use Tron.
Yeah.
Electric red made for a great bad guy.
Yep.
Electric blue, great good guys. There was that divide, between the MCP and the programs and the users. Whereas, look at G.I. Joe, red lasers, blue lasers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There you go, right there.
I still love that joke, and I don't know why. It's like G.I. Joe taught me everything I needed to know about life. 25% blue lasers, 25% red lasers, 50% knowing. That because knowing is half the battle. So yeah, the way he's gonna do cell shading is he's literally doing his base layer. So his base layer is going to be all straight one color. There's no additives. There's no alterations to the temperature of the paint. There's no change in layer thickness, or there shouldn't be.
The only thing I've added was the Lamian gloss medium, just to give it a little bit of shine and make it dry more evenly.
Yep. And when we say Lamaine gloss medium, we literally make our own because we use a lot. We try not to. Typically, when you use water, you thin down the paint too much. If you use a medium with some deionized water and a drop or two of flow improver, you create something that helps maintain pigment. So when you draw it across, when you load up your brush and you draw that paint across, your surface, you don't lose integrity of your color. If you see, he's painting down the way we always say, try to do everything in your power to paint down. And he's able to create clean lines. Like if you see around the hand, he's got this really clean, crisp line around.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked out.
It's because you and I are painting a lot more.
Yeah.
So you know where your brushes are sitting. You know how in the very
I'm also
first...
taking care of this brush a lot more than I normally do.
Oh, you need water, don't you?
Yeah.
I will be right back. I can fix this.
Yeah, these are brushes that I got picked up like off the rack at, that big box store that has so many issues politically, culturally, and everything else. But like dirt cheap, but they've been working out really well, and I've started taking a lot better care of them. And they're
What do you want?
Right there, be perfect. So they're working out better, and I'm because of that, I'm taking better care of them, and they're continuing to work better.
Yep. But another thing is practice makes perfect.
That too.
We've been doing a lot more painting. We've been, learning our own methods. Like we said in the very first episode, is there is a time frame of use that gets you used to your tools. You're not. We told you you're not going to pick up a paintbrush and you're not going to be able to paint, a Picasso in a day. This is not going to happen. And even though that might be your end goal, that's not how painting works as a whole. So this is just proof to the testament that, painting and keep painting and keep painting, and you end up with skills you wouldn't normally think you would have, because you're building up muscle memory. You're learning and remembering where your brush is going to go. So proud of you, bro.
Thank you. We should do another show and tell episode where we bring in some of our earlier works.
I thought that was actually a plan, but I don't have any of my earlier works. Although I can easily show you what some of my earlier works look like.
Yeah.
I could literally recreate them.
Yeah, we should try to recreate our crappiest endeavors.
Oh, I could do that easy. Because the very first crappiest endeavor I ever did was horrible. Just thinking about it makes me not want to admit I'm a painter.
My Bard Mini is it sits on my desk as a warning to myself.
But it's still a point of pride, It's look how far I've come. So and that's the cool part about painting for me is that it's something where you can literally look back and see where things went wrong, where things went right, where you found your happy middle,
And one thing to remember, if you make mistakes on this, especially if you're painting an 80s style cartoon, don't worry about it. The animators did too.
Oh,
how many episodes of Ninja Turtles did they swap out for the wrong colors?
Right. Seeing a nunchuck wielding Donatello.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is going back to a lot of people's childhoods.
Yeah.
And what the funny thing is? You're actually using I think is that Mephiston red?
Yep.
You're using the wrong red.
What was it? Corn?
Evil Sons.
Oh, that's
You gotta remember, Prime's base color was that bright fire engine red.
Mm-hmm.
So it was more that's clown nose red, where Mephiston red dries more burgundy.
Well, then this is one of the animator's mistakes.
Actually, we could just say he's doing a night operation, and all the lighter reds that you're going to be using for the cell shading are with the ambient light setting. And that's actually one of the things you also learn as you get into painting is you start noticing temperatures and how they dry and how they act. Like Mephiston, when it goes on pretty bright like a clown nose. But
You can see how it's drying, not quite as bright as when it's wet.
yeah. I wasn't trying to make you feel bad or critique your work. I was just
No,
saying
no.
that the color just didn't seem like it was going to dry properly. Well, the color wasn't going to dry as bright as you thought.
Yeah, I agree. But I'm not a huge fan of using layers as bases just because you got to go back with layers to build up the color.
Well, I mean, if you do it right, you don't have to.
Well, yeah, I don't do it right yet.
I mean, because I use a lot of, like, you see me, I use layers for all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
I still love the look on your face when you're using layers. Like, how are you doing that? Like, why is that working for you?
Like, stop it, paints. Obey the rules.
Wait a minute. Isn't that kind of like the polar opposite?
That
of
was our
everything?
first episode.
It was like,
that was our
don't
mission
follow the
statement.
rules. But yeah, I mean, painting's fun. I mean, and it definitely, it's a great therapy. It's a great way to, relieve stress. It's a great way, I find that painting is one of those ways where you can lose track of yourself while you're doing it. And just a whole day could pass by and you've painted like 20 things. And you're like, wow, I just ruined a whole day off. I was supposed to meet my friends. And it's like, no, I'm stuck here painting. I remember when I first got into painting, a bunch of my friends wanted to go out and have a drink. And I was like, oh, yeah, dude, I'll be there, no problem. Like
Many hours later.
Oh, yeah, they called us like, where you at? I said, I'm covered in paint, bro. I ain't going anywhere. Sorry, bud. It was like, I was almost like every time I would paint, I would get anxiety-ridden walking away from the table. Like, it was a horrible thing for me. Like, I should never have had that feeling, but I did. That is not bad. That was blocked out really well.
Thank you.
Like, I'm mad at you now because I do not block out that well.
It helps that they have all the little mold lines in it, which will be our guide for when we do our inking.
Yep.
Which you can kind of see on Starscream here. If it focuses, yeah.
Oh, do you need my black ink?
I have some.
I'm just offering.
I appreciate it. What kind of ink
Why do you
have
have to come prepared?
Right.
The black ink I have is what I did for the episode of Black, and Slightly Darker Black. Which I don't think that episode took off nearly as well as I thought it would. But I have the Liquitex Carbon Black.
Okay. Yeah, I've got a Higgins Inkwell Black.
Mine's darker.
Probably.
You know what we can find out?
We could.
We can do a thing. I like doing things. So, and Higgins, this stuff, man, I remember this stuff, people used to use this for homemade tattoos. Like, that's how intense this stuff was.
So don't get it on you.
Oh, man, or don't get it on a cut. It's kind of the rule of thumb. And I always hated Higgins ink because the lids were crap. Mm-hmm. Still are because I can squeeze air.
Yep.
I love how people are going to watch this and they're going to be like, these guys are idiots. But they're not wrong. They're not wrong.
Not even a little bit.
So Higgins black. See how it fades into gray?
Here, show the gang.
Oh, yeah.
Get it on camera.
So I'm going to take a deep well hit and see how it fades into gray. It starts making its own gradient, which is cool for like pen ink, like
which is what it
penning
is.
ink. Well, yeah,
It's like for like a quill, for like fancy schmancy writing.
but the ink I use is acrylic-based carbon black ink. God, the one-upmanship on this show. I'm telling you, dude, we're horrible people. Like, how are we allowed to teach?
Well, they let anybody start a Facebook channel.
So then my carbon black
So it maintains the pigment the whole way down.
Yeah, until you start losing pigment on the
Right.
brush. I mean, you do you. I mean,
Yeah.
it's here if you need it.
Okay.
It's here if you want to use it. But yeah.
Typically, I use my calligraphy pen, but this one has a little bit of a finer line work, so it's a little bit too thin to get in there with my pen.
I mean, if you want, you can use this. I mean, it might still be a little too thick.
Oh no, I've got the right. I've got a brush for
right
it.
on. That's awesome.
Like
Oh,
you know
it's
that
like-
calligraphy pen that I brought in that one time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that is awesome.
That's how I did all of these. But like the line work in here is a little bit finer.
yeah. I'm gonna move the paper. But yeah, say it's darker.
Yeah. So the red's just about done.
That still looks amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Like I'm not gonna lie, that blocking is great.
Happy accidents.
Happy accidents. You know, we keep saying happy accidents. We are fairly skilled individuals.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right. So red's just about done. So while that finishes drying, I'm gonna do the blue on the boots.
The blutes.
The boots. And for that, I've got some Cantor blue,
Cantor blue. Wait a minute, what are they asking for?
like a dark blue.
Dark blue. Yeah, Cantor blue is about as dark as
Yeah, that's what I did for Soundwave for his bass.
Yeah, that works. I always thought, yeah, that works.
It was
for
more of a
Soundwave.
purpley in the show, but
You know, you could have made a purple blue.
I could have.
I mean, I don't want to mess this up, but
No, I kind of like how it turned out with the more bluish, because like the figure was more purpley, but I think on the show he was more bluish, or at least
well, when you have a darker purple character, where the original Soundwave was purple. The record, the cassette player Soundwave was blue. The
Yeah.
gun Soundwave was purple.
okay, yeah.
The audio player was blue. It took me a second, dude. You're asking me to recall stuff that happened in the '80s. Like,
Right.
Christ, that was like almost, 40 years ago.
35 at least, because it was 83 that it came out.
80, 90, 2000.
Well, I'm 36 and I was born in 84.
2013 would be 40 years. 93.
Well, I'm 36 and I was
2000
born in
hold on,
84, so it couldn't have been.
No, wait, hold on. I added the wrong number.
Okay.
So we'd have 93, 2003, 2013. So yeah, it's about 30 and some change. And why am I getting messages?
So would you say that cell shading kind of is like you're using blocked colors to mimic like zenithal a little bit?
No,
Okay.
I would not actually. I could easily see the corollaries between the two, and you would not be wrong in the assumption. Zenithal is literally creating a spot of light where a light source would be, where cell shading is giving you an idea of dimensionality based off
Okay.
of light in a certain area. Like you can really screw up cell shading by putting putting your cell shade in the wrong spot on one leg, but not doing it conversely on the other.
Right.
Like if you're doing stuff on this boot, all right, where the light's naturally shining off of it, you would have to show he would stand like this, so you'd have light going this way, right?
Yeah.
But you'd only have light touching this little corner
Right.
here. So everything has to kind of fit within the realm of where light's hitting. And you're just you're blocking off areas and making it lighter to show 3 dimensions with little work.
Okay.
That cell shading is basically, this is where the light is, so everything where the light is touching is going to be significantly lighter. And basically the reason cell shading works is you can take that cell shade technique and you can brighten it and darken it based on how much light is there.
Okay.
If you look at cell shading throughout like anime and art styles, is depending on how much light is available will literally dictate how much more lighter that cell shaded area is.
Okay.
I don't even know why I know this. Like, it's weird. Like, it's one of those things of, why do I have this knowledge?
Like, is this why I don't have a PhD? For me, that answer is yes, because my brain is full of other things.
Well, yeah, it's like, we've loaded ourselves up on so much trivia and nerd knowledge that I don't think we have room for PhDs.
Nope. As evidenced by my GRE score.
What is a GRE?
Graduate requisite exam.
I miss you, Daddy. I hope you're having a good day.
Aww.
Alright, so red's just about dry. Nothing's really coming off on my fingers. So once we finish this boot, we'll start shading. Actually, we'll probably pull some of the other ones over for example, because otherwise I'm going to get blue from the boots all over myself.
Yeah.
So let's start kind of with Soundwave, because I've done some basic.
Yeah, a lot of people
Cell
are probably
shading on
going
there.
to take that whole daddy thing wrong. It's just our daughters are here, so she was probably speaking for them.
Right.
Because my littlest one sit there, Papa Bear. Yeah. Like, I come home, and if I were to go home right now, the youngest one would lose her shit. It is great.
So I've done some prerequisite cell shading on Soundwave. This is all still very basic. You can kind of see it on the cassette window, for those who know what a cassette is. I don't know what our age group that watches this is, and it won't focus. There it is. So I started off with a light blue, shaded it all, and then just kind of blocked out the lighter blues on the inside of it. That kind of fit with how the light cast across it. And then I continued that along everything in that line. So it continues on to like the aux cord jack gun, and then up above it onto the arm, and then further down you can kind of see the light hit there, and then across. Haven't gotten to it yet. It's not finished by any means.
Now here, with Optimus Prime, I'm going to show you something. Do your cell shading on this. We'll do the cell shading on this. I want to show you a technique on Optimus freshly painted that you can do that shows more the metallic nature of a robot.
Okay.
A lot better.
Okay.
So cell shading is good, and one of the main reasons why cell shading is great for these miniatures is you got to remember that these are basically Japanese anime that we all fell in love with when they were Americanized.
Yeah.
So cell shading for this particular model set and these particular characters actually works really, really well. But there's another way that you can do it that gives the reflective quality on glass. And the only thing I would have said to do to change this is on your glass. Mm-hmm. Like on the glass right here, I would have put in where this light blue is, I would have put a thin white line as straight as possible. Yeah. And I mean, even if you have to take some tape and just go swoop and peel it off. And because the one thing that you and I both fail to do a lot is use white properly.
Yeah. I agree. I can agree with that.
You and I fail so
I don't
miserably
even
at that.
have white in my toolbox today.
I have white. So if you want to do that, you can. But whites are actually important to show breakup of gradient.
Okay.
And because think about it, when you see the reflection off your Jeep, you see that white line, and you see the color underneath
Yeah.
it that's a little shaded because sun's like not hitting it.
Right.
So in theory, if you have straight lines or a flat surface, you would have a straight line of white, and then you would have the taper of color, and then you would have the true color.
Okay. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense when I say it that way, but I can see your brain working, and I can
Yes.
see you putting everything
My brain is
together.
filling in the gaps.
Which is why we're friends.
Yes.
Because Chris and I have this bad habit of leaving each other with, like, our goodbye is like, hey, later, take care. Oh, don't forget the thing.
We forget the thing.
And, well, we'll forget the thing, but we instantly know what the thing is that we weren't supposed to forget.
Yes. We know at the time what we're going to forget.
Yeah, we preemptively warn each other to not forget the thing we're going to forget.
Then we both forget.
Oh, yeah. It's horrible.
All right.
We're
So
horrible creatures. Like, the fact that we forget so much stuff. I'm surprised that if it wasn't for the fact that I know that Tuesdays are days we record and put stuff up on YouTube, I would forget all of my stuff. Like today, I knew we were either going to do the My Little Pony thing, which was an idea,
yeah.
but we couldn't find My Little Ponies. I couldn't.
The idea was to do something outside of our comfort level that we have really no experience with whatsoever.
Yeah.
So we were going to custom paint some My Little Ponies. Couldn't find My Little Ponies.
But that is going to be a thing. Like, Wednesday, I should be able to acquire a My Little Pony. Are we talking like the full-size ponies? Or are we talking about the little mini ones?
Let's do minis.
So basically, let's cheat and do minis.
Yes.
Okay.
Because that's a lot of paint.
Either way, I don't mind. It's the fact that it has like realistic hair.
That is true.
I mean, both of them do. Both of them. Even you know what? Screw it. I have a way around that.
Okay.
I have a way.
I mean, we did do the how to do hair.
No, I have a way to keep the hair safe.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, blue tape. Painter's tape.
This
It's good for
stuff.
painting. Go figure.
Yeah, the thing we do all the time, like, you know, it's funny is they actually make masking tape for models. Did you know that? Like, and you guys, for you guys out there, yes, you can go to a hobby store and they actually have different thicknesses of like masking tape that you can put on models, so you can tape off whole areas and do different design style paints. And I was literally a year old when I found out. Like, literally the first time I saw it was last year, when my buddy Chad came over, and he showed me. He like, oh, here, I don't have any use for this anymore since I don't use this size tape anymore. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I looked at it, I'm like, holy crap, this is masking tape. Give me whole rolls of the stuff.
Nice.
I was like, well, isn't that special? God, I miss the church. The Dana Carvey, dude. I love Dana Carvey. Oh my God, you guys just saw my ADHD.
Little bit. So, sun's coming from this way, so he's gonna have streaks.
If the sun's coming this way, you got to block
Yeah.
off an area.
Right.
You literally got to sit there and say, okay, like, what I would do is, where did you want the sun?
Here.
So
So let's
So if he's
prop him
standing up and the sun is coming from behind him, okay, if the sun's coming from behind him, you're literally going to have to paint this whole thing one color. This whole back leg and this whole back leg up to about from here over.
Okay.
Leave just like go down to just like anything on this side of this gear. You want to like from here over is going to be the lighter color. This here is going to be the darker color, and conversely, you're going to go down to the edge of this, and everything from here over is going to be that lighter color on the back, while this remains dark.
Okay.
Try that. Cell shading, I would add a little more pigment to that.
Okay.
Because that's really thin. And
Yeah.
with it's weird, but with cell shading, you want the colors to be contrasting. So, and you want to be able to use the whole swath. So feel free to lighten that up. If you need white, I'll give you white. I've got plenty. And cell shading is literally that. You're literally the reason it's called cell shading is you're actually taking a whole chunk of space and like if you were doing this and this wing had all the light on it, you would literally cut out this whole space and paint it really light, even lightening up the red. You're breaking things down into cells and painting areas of only the cells that would have light.
Okay. So,
Oh, no, too much. You just... Yep.
all right.
So, and then you would take the light all the way down. All
Okay.
the way down to this little spot. You're going to be leaving this part right here the proper color. So you would literally just come in right along this, and you just paint right in here. Just this is your edge line right here.
Okay.
And we've had no comments, which is kind of awkward. Although if I go like this, nope, no comments. But we had 2 likes,
Hey.
so that's good. 2 people like us. And go back to the live feed so we can see what we're doing.
All right. So, got it there and down the line, and then here on this whole side.
Yep.
All right.
And that is cell shaded. So you would literally, this kind of went a little too far. You
Yeah.
just literally wanted.
I'm going to go over that again.
Yeah, just remember straight lines for straight lines.
Right.
Like, there's not a whole lot of curve, and I would have brought this paint all the way down, just like that, to cover up all of that. And that is like textbook. That is perfect right there.
Okay.
And then, this I would have brought down a lot more. There we go.
Cool.
And I would have thickened up the paint.
Yeah. Yeah, it came out a little thin.
No, it's all right, man. Trust me, it happens to me all the time. Like, you don't even
1
want
in
to know
5.
how many times I literally sit there and like, okay, cool, I'm going to use this much of this, and then I have to turn around and do something else because everything went pear-shaped. So yeah, breaking up. You know what? I'm going to do a bumblebee.
Go for it. I'm going to get him shaded.
Okay. So I need yellow, and I have yellow. And I'm going to need white, and I have white. So, bonus to me.
So while he's grabbing his gear, I'm going to throw some Carberg Crimson on Optimus.
And since you're using the good mat, I'll go back to the old busted. Hey, man, I really want to say I appreciate all the hard work you put into this, man.
Thank you. You too, bud. Yeah, I got to figure out a better at-home setup because I was watching the Ultron painting. And I'm like, good God, that angle is all over the place.
Yeah, I watched some of it, but I didn't really get a chance to really watch it because I have the kids.
Yeah.
But I thought you did a good job.
Thank you.
I mean,
It painted well, but the videography was not there.
well, I mean, you can't expect it to be perfect when you're using a cell phone and you're at home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, that becomes a very hard thing, especially when you're trying to do it on your, like, I mean, I kind of lucked out where, I mean, you know what? If you have, do you have a laptop?
No.
You have a computer?
Yes.
Like, is it in the same area you do your painting?
Yeah. When I've tried it, it sounded like Chip and Dale. And not like Rescue Rangers, like 1940s cartoon,
Oof.
high pitched. It was weird.
I don't know where that came from, but okay.
Yeah, I tried to do an early tutorial on how to do fur when I painted my Wookiees. and the whole thing sounded like high-pitched Chippendale, Alvin and the Chipmunk style voice acting. It was weird. So I don't know if it was camera, computer, both.
It could have been just your software.
Yeah. I mean, it was like just via YouTube Live.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it was all browser based.
Oof.
Yeah.
But the offer stands, man. If you think you can get it sorted, I'm more than happy to loan you the camera. I mean, it was loaned to the Paint Nerds,
right.
not just me, so.
Yeah, that Carroburg Crimson's given a little bit of grime on there, which I always like. It gives you the grime without giving it the I dunked it in Newland oil effect.
Yeah, that is a that is a thing.
That has its place, just not on Transformers.
Man, eyeballing this, I keep forgetting that cell shading is something you map out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm getting it.
Oh yeah.
Say that's cell shading.
Yeah, put that in the view. Yeah.
It's still yellow, but you can see where the light is actually hitting the object. There's a Japanese model artist, like he basically custom paints Gunpla or Gundam models. Sweet Lord, that man is a cell shading.
There's so
god.
many phenomenal cell shade artists on YouTube. Epic Duck Studios
I've heard of them.
They do a lot of like the Crisis Protocol characters and Borderlands minis, so things that are traditionally comic style works.
Oh yeah, those guys are.
They do great stuff.
Yeah.
Check them out. Shameless plug that they'll
More
never
to say.
see, but
Oh, you never know.
yeah.
Because we could always put it in the description. You know.
Yeah, my very first experience with
Oh, see, that's why we have silicone mats, people.
Yep, right there. The blob of
We have our first
first dump. Yep.
Oh, and it's Carlsberg Crimson too.
So it matches, right?
Nah, those shades, man. I mean, shades are pricey and they dump out. Like there's.
It wasn't much, thank God.
Thank God for rubber mats.
That too.
Because you could actually just wring that out into there now.
Next week we'll have a syringe on hand.
Oh, is that what we're going with this?
Well, just to
Teaching drug use to kids?
or to drink up the oil. Alright. So one of my first experiences with like the comic style outside of a comic book was you remember the N64 video game 13, Roman numeral 13?
Thank you for calling a safe point. How can I help you?
Where it was all
Hey, boo boo.
all heavily inked, cell shaded video game that would have cutscenes as a comic book, and that just blew my mind. And I've kind of had it in the back of my head
I don't have any.
for forever. So that's kind of what inspired me to get into this style of painting.
Yep. I think they're here. Back. How's it going?
Hey,
Just in the middle of a YouTube live video.
Stop out.
Oh no, you're good.
Yeah. And the boots are a little bit are dry, so
We're teaching cell shading.
and the boots are drying off, so I can add most of my nightshade to it. This is a Drakenhof Nightshade.
I'm pretty Brody with the shades, man.
I like them.
And no, before you think that, shades are not a single-use tool.
Yeah.
So what can we help you guys with?
I called y'all a couple times on the phone.
All right. Well, if you have any needs, let us know.
You got any Pokemon cards?
None. Like, apparently they're out everywhere.
Everybody wants Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, pretty much for the past 25 years, Pokemon cards have been.
Pokemon cards, everybody's scavenging for them.
Here and there, they get a break.
Everybody's scavenging for
Fun,
Pokemon
some here and
cards.
there, tens and.
Pokemon cards, they're special ones. They're scavenging.
Oh my god, I'm trying to hand paint this one. Gerarg.
Yeah,
Just
cell
if I
shading,
can-
you definitely want to have a plan in mind before you start. It's very hard to like freewheel it.
This is just proof I can't freehand a straight line.
You come here and you play board games. You crazy cool board games. And you come play Pokemon here with other people.
So another big key aspect of cell shading is line work, going over everything with black and inking. Like what's his face in Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, the guy that does the tracing. That's right.
We played a video game with Jay not long ago.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
We played a game of Hunt Showdown with Jay.
Jason Mewes?
Yep.
Nice. We're not that lucky. like we're not. Like famous people ever walked in here, I probably wouldn't recognize them, and if I did recognize them, I wouldn't be able to speak. So
Well, I play Hunt Showdown. I've been playing since the game came out on PC. And he teamed up with another streamer that knew of me and my friend, and we killed them when we got into a fight with him. And then I went to Jay's stream because I found out he streamed. And he was like, oh, dude, let's get on some Hunt. I was like, all right, dude. He added me as a friend, and we played the match.
Nice.
Jason Mewes, man, I love View Askew stuff. That was kind of like my bread and butter going, growing up.
He streams almost every day on Twitch.
That's awesome. I have 5 daughters, so I don't have a whole lot of time to do much of anything. Like,
You gotta get
literally,
him into what you do. That's why these kids play Pokemon.
one is way too young for that because I'm a blacksmith by trade, and painting with a 2-3-year-old not a good idea.
This is pretty.
I have a 5-year-old who has no interest in painting whatsoever, and I have a 9-year-old who loves to paint, but takes the whole don't follow the rules to a whole new level. So she's gonna be my gradient master when she grows up. It's like she's gonna be able to do gradients like nobody's business. That's our executive producer.
Yeah.
I like the floor.
Pretty cool.
Thank
What
you.
Y'all had a magic thing.
It's so windy.
A what now?
On the cards, what y'all did with magic? You got all kinds
Oh,
of
I'm
cards.
actually putting those into the binders in their corresponding
So y'all
color.
finally got some magic extras.
Yeah. You're more than welcome to look into them.
I have plenty. I might have
Yes.
some to donate to y'all.
We're doing comic style painting
Okay.
with transformers, so making it look like they're coming out of a comic book.
That's so thick.
Yeah, don't get too close.
That paintbrush is so thick.
This one?
It's a stub.
It's like it has a point.
Yeah.
Top on
It's a stub.
it.
It's a stub.
It's like it's made out of a tail of calf,
Maya.
but the different ways of it.
That is a stub.
Well, yeah, this lets me do really, really fine point stuff. So if I wanted to do something thicker, I could use this one.
Earlier on a paint.
You can use a big one
know
or
that.
other one.
And keep in mind, people, we actually teach here at the shop too.
Yeah.
I already know how to
Are
paint.
y'all interested in buying sealed Pokemon product?
You would actually have to talk to the owner on that one.
Another owners?
No,
I'm a customer.
we do a YouTube channel here because bandwidth, and my brother-in-law owns the store. I have no power over purchasing
Cause I
whatsoever.
have access to some sealed stuff that one of my friends is trying to sell.
Yeah, that would be an owner decision. If you come in on Wednesdays, you usually find him here.
That's the days I usually can't find myself.
Right.
'Cause I work.
This over here is amazing.
Yeah, we're gonna come over there one day and play. That's for Warhammer, right?
That's one of your works?
Yeah, that's one of my works for Warhammer.
That's amazing.
Well, thank you.
Don't touch it.
Oh no, actually, please do.
No, don't do that.
I don't mind. Like literally, people touch it all the time. It's not even a big deal to me.
Warhammer's expensive. How much a pack of miniatures cost right here?
It all depends on
Like this one.
the group. I think that's like 35, 45.
That's not even enough to play, right? How many-
No, that's actually, those little packs are add-ons to other armies. So if you're using those,
You can go. I can.
yeah. So those would be Adeptus Mechanicus. So you would actually.
So we're doing,
start collecting blocks with Adeptus Mechanicus.
you know,
army.
live stream.
These are.
I'm going over my Starscream at this point and doing some more inking, which is one of my favorite bits of this. Just adding more. It's kind of what to me brings it most in with comic book style,
And then you have Age of Sigmar, which is basically high fantasy novels.
where you just go over all of the way I do it. I go over all the recesses in the model. Some people I've seen do like all the recesses, and then every little like coming off will go again and again and again, which looks great, but it's just not my particular style. So I'm just kind of finding all the little recesses
That will have both.
and very carefully
And that means they can cross.
filling it in.
I really want to play
Essentially,
And you can accomplish this too with just a Newland oil wash,
in that giant.
very carefully.
bad evil thing happens,
But-
and it's all the same demons because I mean,
It's a
they
bomb.
don't have to change.
I think it looks like an egg.
Then you'll lose kind of the
Like this, like Soul Wars, I think it's like 199 or more.
color
But this right
blocking.
here is enough to basically play an entire game because it really comes with everything you need. It comes with the miniatures for both sides. So this would be literally.
And I've got a larger,
Single play with
Chaz does not know this, but I have a larger Optimus Prime model
probably like high point army stuff
on order. And over the
I watched
next
them play at
few weeks, what I'll probably do is like
and they had like
build it and paint it piece by piece and then bring it into the shop to kind of go over my progress, because my home studio, if you watch the Ultron video, isn't great.
Yeah, these are high point.
So yeah, just going over and
This is
all the little bits
now, it used to be like, well,
is just,
now if you're playing a 5
and just adding line work to it. And you can see how,
I mean, you
like we were demonstrating earlier with different styles of black ink, this doesn't quite hold its charge as well.
what? You have been a plus one?
Yeah.
They got cool tables. Yeah, like terrain and everything.
We actually have terrain panels, and I'm actually building terrain panels for the custom table.
So to get in, say if I wanted to get into it, I'd have to buy a box like that.
You could start with that, yeah.
To be honest, are they cheap on them?
And unfortunately, it's getting that way because you got to think Brexit. Brexit is making it really hard to find Warhammer anything at a local store. Like I literally was trying to order stuff that's going to take like almost 6 weeks to get.
This is for a lot of things. You can't even order Pokemon cards I'm talking about.
I've been to 4 different vendors.
So you can
and all
see
the stuff that everybody's interested in.
a little bit more of that inking coloration. So
I've been trying.
I'm going to try Chaz's method on Starscream.
Well, oh yeah, y'all looking at different places too, like Walmart restocks on Wednesdays, Walmart and Target restocks on Wednesdays, Dollar General on Tuesdays. When the vendors come in. I've been finding a couple things. I got a guy that apparently knows one of the vendors and he gets stuff. And he sells me the Pokeballs for retail price. He sells me a lot of
Okay.
stuff for retail price.
Looking for
Like I got a box I'm gonna pick up from home with my phone.
I'm gonna go with Uthulum Gray for it.
I know, so she was,
Y'all just shouldn't be touching anything at all. Maya,
She's just touching.
I know, but don't. It's easy. Just don't look at it. Use your eyes.
All right.
We're not gonna get mad because nothing is permanently broken.
You just gotta prepare it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you use this when you play a game of Warhammer. You use this to set up the stage.
So going over it
and
and just
the stuff right there,
lightening up
And you set up like a terrain and play.
to follow
It
the
sounds so interesting, man.
If you and I were actually playing a game, what would
color,
happen is
the
you would
how the light
place
hits
a
it.
piece, I would place a piece.
I've
of
seen them
terrain.
do that already, and then you place it out until you use your points,
Mhm.
and then when you're ready, you
It-
start.
For me, I don't even play the game.
I've never played it. I've just seen people play it.
I paint the miniatures for people. You know, like guys like you who don't have a whole lot of time to paint. I'm the reason commission artist works. You know, but yeah,
If you painted all of this, you'll work it.
And if y'all ever have any questions, always, feel free, drop a
I painted
message, comment,
yeah,
anything.
Does he play? And then he does, yes. He hasn't been able to play in a while.
It sucks when you turn one of your hobbies into a job, right?
No, I love what I do.
You want to talk about him?
Oh no, he loves it too because he gets to sit in the game store all day.
My favorite sculpture that you guys made is this one.
We actually think that he's just not even a painting. That's just the base coat. That's literally just the base color.
I did actually do
Just going over lightning,
Oh, fix
a lot of one wing and then a little bit of the other. And that's it. It's deceptively, if you know what you're, if you have a plan, it's easier than if you freehand it. We've been freehanding it today and
Look like this.
That's another thing I did.
didn't really go into this with any type of plan.
Yeah.
They actually come like this, and you actually have to put them together.
The whole miniature?
Yeah.
Like for the whole army?
Yeah,
Every one of them.
Everything comes like this. Like if you get a bunch of Space
Alright.
Marines, you're just gonna see a bunch of Space Marine
So,
parts.
Prime's
You have
pretty
to
dry on
put
the
ones you want
his
on your
red
model
section,
and
so
put
we'll
together.
paint him up.
You can't play with the gun. You can't play with it.
I mean, you could, but you don't usually want to.
We're gonna start off with Evil Sun Scarlet.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, to give you an idea of what the guys look like.
Yeah, obviously.
I don't even know how to sell it.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a layout for Space.
So we're planning on sunlight coming from here.
A lot of the stuff is going in the first
So-
step. I think it'd be screw or something stuff like that. So you would have like 1, 2, 3, 4. You have different pieces that you can glue to it. Same with Sigmarites. That you would have all their stuff on one screw,
And that's how these all come unpainted.
unpainted on screw.
So you have to sit there and like build your whole army and paint them how you want and everything. That's actually kind of cool.
There's color schemes and everything you can go off of.
52 miniatures is kind of cool. How much I charge for this? 160. But the only way to play is in a place like this, right? You have to have all the terrain and stuff.
Yeah, as long as you have like a like what 3x3 space.
Yeah, a 3x3 square.
Pretty cool. Well, you buy all the stuff to make additional stuff. Is that good?
Yeah, and then you get foam core and stuff like that. Put it in.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be with, as long as it makes the world look cool, right?
Right.
The place you're playing.
I have my brother-in-law in California. He actually, when he got into it, he didn't have enough money for terrain. He didn't have time to actually build anything. So he literally just spray painted and glued together the cheap like Tupperware stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He just literally just glued it all together, cut gouges into it, and just painted it to look like blown up terrain and put that on the table.
Pretty cool. I didn't know they had miniature figures. I thought you had to have
Those are
big ones.
D&D figures.
Well, I mean, for that, like the miniature
Oh,
figures
yeah.
like that. I thought they were like all big. I give to you. What am I gonna do with that,
Whatever
man?
you want, man. Learn to paint. Go to the paint nerds.
She got paint. I got a painter. No commission.
Yeah,
Go,
okay.
go to the paint nerds on YouTube. We'll show you all sorts of really cool
You're on the
stuff.
show right now.
I have a friend that paints stuff.
Hey, go to to our Facebook page and wait for our lives. You can watch us do stupid stuff and paint all the
I
time.
want
Yep.
to start coming over here, but y'all said nobody comes in here and plays cards. I want to come play Pokemon with somebody.
I mean, I have one guy, but getting him in here on call is kind of a difficult task. He doesn't show up until like usually around 4.
That's what this is. You don't have practice right yet. It's already prime, just make it.
Just in my bedroom.
All right, man. We're going to get our haircuts.
All right.
I want to start going around. I want to play it, man.
Well, you know what?
It's hard to find people to play with, too, right? Like,
It can be, but I mean, we have people.
Mhm.
Like here comes Jonah right now. He's actually going to be coming out of that car. So now you see a day in the life of a game store operator.
Right.
So yeah, this is seashell shading. This is cell shading at its basic.
I'm kind of following that lead.
And then the back. I mean, and that's just basic cell shading.
Yeah.
I'm not even trying to be professional at this point. Like I'm applying what
Yeah.
basic skills I have.
We're just making it look cool. If it's actually cell shaded,
I
great.
love how you painted a G on your gloss medium.
Every time I labeled it with this ink, it kept like, that's labeled with Sharpie, but supposedly permanent ink. So
Isopropyl alcohol actually changes that. Yeah, a little trick. If you ever get like Sharpie all over your stuff, isopropyl alcohol will take it off.
oh no, I know. That's the problem. Is that it took off my label.
So another reason cell shading is used on like robots is it's easier to actually do cell shading on squares than it is on anything else. So a lot of robots tend to be blocky, and it's actually really easy to cell shade in blocks.
So sun hitting from here. So just kind of following that.
Now keep in mind, if sun is here, you got to remember that sun here means nothing. It's light source from standing.
Okay. So from here,
Yep. So if your sunlight is here, okay, or even here, everything where the sphere of light is hitting, and it usually goes in an ellipse.
okay.
So anything in this would have to be a lighter color, except where obvious blocks and shadows would
Okay.
be. And only the one side, so everything underneath wouldn't be.
Gotcha. We're learning, kids.
Yep.
Yep, these two men are madmen. They're madmen.
Well, we're just mad. We
And
just
we're-
happen to be mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, cell shading is not as easy as it looks, and it takes a lot of time and patience to get it right.
It's like deceptively simple looking.
It's Decepticoningly simple.
Yep. That
I failed that one hard.
we figured it out. So
Yeah. So yeah, if the sun is here, it's going to hit all here, but where his head was, notice he kept that perfect. That was spot on.
let's turn it around so y'all can see what I did perfect. Sun from here.
Where
Casting
the head
a
is
shadow,
right here, casting
right.
a shadow.
Yeah.
That was spot on. That was a level of that was perfect.
So we'll follow that up with what would be the traditional Optimus Prime color of Wild Rider red.
Wild Rider. Autobots. Transform and roll out. I did that.
It's
pretty
almost
good.
like an orange.
Yes, actually, it is an orange.
It threw me when I did my Megazord because,
They call it a red, but it's a lie.
yeah, it sure did.
Red is a lie.
So this would be kind of closer to where the sun is hitting, this color would go, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so it would be,
I mean, in theory, you don't have to add gradients to cell shading. Where light hits, you tend to put either the lighter color or just white.
okay.
But if you wherever the sun would be brightest, like
What's up,
at points,
See
you
a
would
little bit later.
paint a little
Later,
bit of a
bud.
point. Wait, where did you? I thought there was fish tanks on the way.
All already done and said with.
Oh, good job. Proud of you.
I was able to get here within the nick of time. Alright, guys. You behave. No setting fires. No burning, pillaging, or killing.
If you can't quite hear, Chris is telling us not to set fires or pillage.
He takes the fun
villages.
out of everything. He's like
Really
an old dad.
does.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, you kids.
I'm doing you a favor on your windshield.
Thank you.
See?
Oh, sweet. That looked good.
Like I said, we misuse we horribly misuse white.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost abusive.
Yeah, it's more neglect.
Yeah.
Abuse via neglect.
Yeah, we failed the use of white.
And I'm gonna get a little droppy of that too for Prime.
Take all you need. See how nice we are to each other?
Just to kind of get the point across. This is White Scar.
See? Just a little bit of white.
Yep. Put it in the frame. Put it in the frame.
So yeah, I used a little bit of white on the windshield there to show like the streaking, and a little bit on that side there. I don't know if you guys can actually see it. Focus camera. Why does it focus for you but not for me?
Oh, you didn't see me trying to get Starscream and Soundwave in focus.
I wish there was like an autofocus. Like, I mean, I know sometimes you go like that, it'll focus. But yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
I use white
get the
to make
idea. There's-
streaks because that's the best I can do right now. I mean, I hope you guys are enjoying the fact that we sit here and make hour-long videos that essentially equate to, hey, look at this little bit of work we did.
Yep.
Because I mean, in all honesty, we're painting in real time, and when you paint in real time, you find that, yeah, see, I love that little, love that little trick, man. That little bit of white. I mean, it's something you wouldn't think about, but it does wonders. Oh, and I'm going to show this to you real quick. But also for cell shading, you can do the same thing for white. What you do is you kind of do an undercut, and you just add a little bit of white, just to kind of enhance that sync. And using lines is important.
Yeah.
You don't want to flow in, but that's actually that's called an undercut.
Okay.
So you undercut the line and you add that little streak, and that little streak adds to that glow dimension.
Gotcha.
So I added a little bit of white as an undercut, and you can see even in the blur, it has that glistening effect of light striking a metal surface. Sorry, I had to show you that.
All
'cause
good.
I thought that was like one of the coolest things I could possibly teach you and everybody else. And it's still basic as hell.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, it's a basic technique. But that's
It's literally so basic. It's just a line of white.
Yeah.
But the effect that it makes is awesome. So kind of going to go back a few episodes a little bit and throw some flame effects into here. And I'm using shades again because I want to keep the
clear nature.
clear nature of that plastic.
So what he's doing is he's creating a dimensional effect on the clouds by letting the shade set into the curvature. So you still get it's still clear. You're still going to be able to see through it mostly, but it's going to be more defined as to where.
Almost like a tint.
Yeah. And it'll actually tint the plastic too.
Kind of give you a stained glass kind of look to it.
Yep. Too bad there wasn't like a white or a gray that you could do that with.
I mean, you could thin the shit out of some white.
I have contrast medium. I made contrast medium.
You did.
Yeah. Dude, I do think.
No, that wasn't a question. That was a declarative. You did make it. Let's see. Let's see what we do. Let's see what happens. Chris was right. Mad scientists.
Well, I mean, you looked at me like I did something stupid.
No.
And I,
No, that was sincerity.
Well, that's weird.
Another reason we're using the Transformer minis is that they're very blocky, and there's a lot of smooth surfaces that we can kind of show
So,
the effect on.
You want the gloss version or the matte version?
Well, they're robots, so let's go with gloss.
Well, I mean, you're painting gas.
Oh shit, yeah, that's right. Matt, yeah.
Like, I just do things. I can't be trusted to be left alone.
I just do things. I don't have a plan.
Since in the year you've known me, at what point did you think I ever had a plan?
Oh, at no point. Maybe when you introduced yourself.
That was the only plan I had. Was I'm going to try to make friends with this human. And so far, we're
Yeah, it's
building up
working.
a great friendship. Haha, starting to break up. That's good. Just you're gonna laugh.
Probably.
You're gonna laugh. Okay, get yourself a nice little helping of White Scar. Oh, you're gonna need more than that.
I don't.
Just there you go. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. So with that, we'll go 1, 2. Get that mixed up. See how it went from acrylic gel to goop, and it's still maintaining its pigment.
Mm-hmm.
You now have contrast.
And this will make it like the Citadel contrast paints, correct?
Yeah. Fundamentally, I've done series of tests, and it works pretty much. Let me add one more for a dramatic effect. There we go. Yeah, this is like literally I had to put it in a dropper simply so I could like one that actually lets me do drops.
Yeah.
Because I got overzealous in like my big my main bottle, and it got way thin way quick. And it was way too thin. It just basically water.
Okay, so
just do like literally the tufts that come
Okay.
up. The actual plumes. Don't do the actual jettison gas, because in theory you wouldn't be able to see that.
you only see it because it's a cartoon and they drew it.
Yeah. And then you can use that same Carlsberg Crimson. Yeah, you way loaded up your brush, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Overcharging.
Well, that's okay. You have enough for both. And see how it just sits in the spots where it's resting, and you get that gradient down. It's a trip, man.
And it's making a pink because I didn't let
Let
the
the-
Carberg dry.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
We'll just say there's red lights under it.
Yeah. Or he's like invaded the Care Bear universe or something.
That I can see Starscream doing that. Those are probably the only things he could beat. Yeah. Hey, do you know what Starscream's job was on Cybertron?
Scientist.
What scientist though? He was actually an Autobot.
Really?
He was the chief scientist.
I knew he was chief scientist. No, was he chief or secondary to Jetfire?
No, he was the chief scientist.
Okay.
Jetfire wasn't a scientist.
It was.
No.
I just watched the episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I've been on I'm in the market for a new car, so I'm looking for, okay, what Transformer corresponds to this vehicle. I chose Trailbreaker.
For the Jeep?
Ford Ranger.
Oh, wait, what?
It's super inconvenient for the Jeep because I have no trunk and it's 2-door and our executive producer is in a car seat. So, yeah, Joan the Jeep needs to be traded in.
So what do you think of the
That's tight.
I do stupid things.
It's not stupid if it works.
It's still stupid.
It's like, sports ball superstitions. It's only stupid if it doesn't work. That works really well.
A lot
Good
better
work.
than you thought.
Yeah. I knew it was going to work well.
No, you didn't.
I didn't.
Don't lie to me. We've known each other too long for that. There's actually a divot. That's why I keep.
Oh,
falling.
okay.
So if you put
Like, it was
right
just
here-
not falling. I know. There you go.
Yeah, if you put it like right here.
Alright.
But yeah, I got really I got irritated because I was using contrast medium, because I like the flow of it and I like the way it worked on different paints. But I got irritated with how fast it goes.
Yeah.
Like, it goes quick. So I decided, okay, well, I literally used the same paint. I tested, okay, here's one drop with one, brush charge of said paint. And then I worked with my mediums and my flow improvers and a little bit of water. And I literally just went through the stage of how much is how much. And I literally, how much flow improver will do this, how much medium will give me that streak, how much water will thin this all out to make it, more translucent and
Right.
get it to fill in. And that's where I came up with this.
Nice.
And then I had to make a gloss version for no reason.
Aside from you needed a gloss version.
Yeah, and don't let the blue milk look fool you. It just it got a little bit tinted with the blue that was in there because I was trying to make a sky blue contrast paint.
Right.
Because I was trying to do like a little ocean scene for some terrain, and I wanted to be able to just spray this in there and get it
Yeah.
all in the cracks, and it worked. But I mean, I had to reuse the bottle, and I didn't clean it as well as I thought.
So,
But it still works. Still does the thing.
So while you were helping your customers, I have an Optimus Prime model. Like, they make Gundam style models of Transformers.
Yeah, I know.
I have it on order.
Oh Jesus!
So what I'm thinking about doing is just like,
Paint that on sprue. And
definitely.
And then, well, no, do all your priming on sprue, and then paint put things together and paint it in parts.
Yes.
And the only suggestion I can give you is maintain your light source. Like, actually get a light.
Oh, I have it.
To shine.
I
Where,
have an old Halloween track light that I
Okay.
liberated from a store.
And then a cool thing you can do is what you do. It's gonna sound weird if you're gonna do cell shading on it.
Well, that's the name of our game.
It's going to sound weird, but what you do is on the primer you take one of those mechanical pen. You take a mechanical pencil, and you lightly just kind of sketch out where the light's hitting,
Oh, nice.
and then so on one side you put L for light, S for shadow. So when you paint it all, like literally, and you're going through looking at every light. You're not turning the piece. You're literally going around the piece.
Okay.
So set it up on like a small circular table with the light source hitting it. After you've primed all the parts and kind of put it together loosely.
Dry fit them, yeah.
Yeah, and then you just sketch out where your
Okay.
light and shadow is. That way you can take all the pieces off. This is the shadow part, paint it. This is the shade. This is the light part, and you can paint it. When you put it together, it all comes together as one piece.
Nice.
It takes a little longer, but you're walking around the piece. You're not moving the piece in light because you change where the light's actually
Right.
hitting. So you just kind of sketch out
Okay.
where all of your light source is and where your light's touching. And that way, when you go to paint it, you've got perfectly cell shaded, and make sure you make the proper mixes of whites and blues and reds. And
Okay.
So that way you can make sure that the red you're using stays constant, and you use your black ink to darken it and go like a drop, and use white to brighten it by a little bit.
Okay.
That way you're getting that temperature change where you need it, and you're not, and that cell shade will become the gradient, and then you use the white streaks on anything unless it has that actual like clear plastic.
Right.
If it has a clear plastic, just let it rest there because the cell shading isn't going to do much for you. Right?
Okay.
That like I said, it's a long drawn out process. It may sound weird, but having the actual light source hitting things will literally tell you where you want to put your colors, and that gives you the ability to slap it together if you're going to do cell shading. Now, if you're going to do zenithal, same light trick, but you put your nozzle of your paint in the center of your cone and hit the model with it.
Okay.
And make sure you're hitting it exactly center. Wherever the center of that light bulb is, that's where your nozzle sprayer needs to be.
So, I don't know if I'm going to do any cell shading now that I think about it because it's a posable model. So I might do, like, take the inking of these guys and do that, but not do the cell shading because once you reposition it,
Well, here's where cell shading works: is it's supposed to be like the light source is following the object.
okay,
So basically, the cell shading you do on him, it's basically wherever he's at, light source is on the object. It's a carrier
hero lighting kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Zenithal is the one that would kind of like you would need light on it for Zenithal to really shine through. If you want realism, don't do any shading at all.
just glaze it.
Make it as when we're done with this, I will teach you a metallic system. Paint a metallic. Do your black, and just be real careful. Do all of your black as careful as possible to do all of your breakup cuts, like you did on Starscream. But keep in mind, if you do the metallic right, you won't need to shade because the natural lighting wherever it's at is going to actually be there.
Okay,
Because a straight color will do its own tinting and shading naturally,
right.
whereas forcing a perspective of shade or light is more for models that aren't going to be in that type of lighting anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, this has been a long, rambling
Yes.
journey.
But
And if you've stayed on for 101 hour and 21 minutes, thank you.
yeah,
Don't
we
forget-
appreciate you.
Don't forget our giveaway
Yep.
is, what was it, 150
If
on...
we get to 100 on both, 100 on Facebook and 100 on
Okay.
YouTube, and they have to be 100, we will be doing a giveaway where I custom make you an 8.5 by 11 silicone paint mat, and I'm going to be building up a model, a miniature that was part of our spoopy painting,
Yes.
and that'll be part of the giveaway too.
And then I will be including a customized Hero Forge mini that you will design. We'll talk over the Facebooks to determine, race, colors, class, everything, and we'll go from there.
Yep.
It'll be fully painted, and you will like it, or you will have a mini that you won't like.
So anybody who's liked us beforehand and gets their friends to like us and gets us to 100, you are already in the running for the drawing.
All right.
All right. Well, this is the special shout out to Troll Tooth Productions.
As always,
Yeah.
thanks to the Save Point.
Oh, and Chris and his wife for all the space they give us and the amazing internets. Our spouses
Definitely.
for putting up with our shenanigans.
Our executive producer who's been napping on the job this whole time.
Yeah, and we only gets paid a bottle of milk.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's cheap. You can't pay for such great labor. And a special thanks to you, Chris.
So
for
thanks to
all
you,
of your help.
Chaz.
You didn't see the handshake, but it was there.
Yes. We gazed into each other's eyes.
Yeah, very intently.
All right, with all that, keep painting. Have a great one.
Yep. Bye.